welcome back to the Hoosier HISteria podcast. This is our last one of the season.
Woo. It is.
At 17 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
We will be back July.
Yeah.
In July.
Yep.
I already got July planned out pretty well. I haven't talked to any of the guests yet. But we will try to have one returning and then a few new people. We might get another new segment.
True. I actually do have one in the works, and it's not the one that we were joking about last time. I have a different.
Okay.
Idea. So.
Okay.
Don't get your hopes up because it's nothing crazy, but I think it would be a cool segment. So.
All right. So we aren't going to continue through Exodus. We'll start that back up in season 2. Kevin and I were kind of having a conversation the other day, and so this is kind of what brought it up. And so thanks, Kevin, for this because
shout out Kev.
you brought this up for me. It's like one of the most misinterpreted Bible verses, I'd say, of all time.
Okay. Do you have a list? Do you have a top 10 most misinterpreted? Just kidding.
I mean, me and Kevin did kind of go through that, but
next episode we're gonna do a tier list of misrepresented or misunderstood Bible verses.
But it's in Matthew 7:1-6, and so I'm just going to go through that, kind of share how me and Kevin have kind of felt that it's misinterpreted, and kind of get your guys' opinions on it a little bit. So it says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." Which I feel like that's what a lot of people say is, Jesus says do not judge and everything, but that's not really what he's more on the lines talking about here as we read through some more of it. Verse 2 says, "For the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Now this is the part that I'm kind of going for in verse 3. "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when all the time there's a plank in your own eye?" And then verse 5, "You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may tramp them under your feet and turn and tear you to pieces." So kind of what me and Kevin were going off of a little bit was, it's more on the lines of do not be a hypocrite more.
Yeah.
Because basically it's like, how can you judge someone else for sins that they're doing whenever you're full on committing sins? And so it's kind of more like, don't judge someone else until you're done sinning, which we never will be. So basically it's like the only person that's allowed to really judge us is God.
The Lord, yeah.
And so that's basically kind of what's going under, is like the hypocrisy of judgment and basically doing all of that. And that's kind of what me and Kevin were talking about a little bit. And so I kind of want to know your guys' opinions on that a little bit.
You can go first.
I was thinking that as far as like judgment goes, like obviously, you're not supposed to judge. But I know that it says, like in one of the epistles later on in the New Testament, that like if you got, I think the correct terminology is that if your brother is sinning, But like if you have a friend or a family member or whoever is sinning in your life, like you need to point that out to them, like respectfully and like with good intentions in your heart, obviously. Not, oh man, Deaven, you're so weird for smoking.
Yeah. Like there's a difference between correcting out of love and judging others.
Yeah. But like you need to point out that sin in their life because I mean you're spreading the gospel with them. You don't want them to have eternity in hell, right? We have to be careful in the way that you do it. Do it with love and compassion. And it says that if they don't like listen to you the first time, I think it says to try again, and then after that, like you just need to move on because you can't get stuck with just one person. You need to spread it to the world, not just one or two people.
Of course.
So, and then Deaven, I like what you said about the hypocrisy. Obviously, none of us are ever going to be completely washed clean of sin, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, you need to. If somebody in your life is sinning over and over and over again, repetitively, living in that life of habitual sin, you do need to try to help them out of it. But yeah, you can't hold that anger towards them or angry thoughts towards them or maybe spread rumors behind them because you're not supposed to grumble either. So,
because, sorry to cut you off, Sam.
No, go ahead.
No, you're perfect.
This is a discussion.
Yeah.
Because, like, it says a lot of the time with this stuff, it says people ignore verses 3 through 5. Like the plank in your own eye and everything. They just ignore that through that. And that's kind of where the hypocrisy part comes in.
I mean, yeah, you see a lot of verses like that get taken out of context for sure.
Yeah. But that's where the hypocrisy part comes in. And he's basically being like, don't judge someone if they have a little speck in their eye, but you have a plank in yours.
Yeah.
For sure. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Like, what you were saying, just going off what you were saying, Camden, about, like, correcting or, leading others in that way. You know, we have, I don't know if I want to call it responsibility necessarily, but we have this mission, I guess, to try to lead others in the right direction. And, we can always lead others in the right direction, but we're never going to be able to save them. That's not our job necessarily. So I think, again, intentions is a huge, or like intentionality is a big part of judging others or correcting others, I guess I should say. Because, I mean, obviously, what this section is getting at here specifically is hypocrisy. But, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with is like, well, I'm not perfect myself. How am I qualified or capable to lead others? And I think that's something that a lot of people fall into, at least from conversations that I've had with people about like, I understand that like I'm called or we're called to, lead others. But if I'm not perfect myself or I don't feel like I'm struggling with sin myself, how am I capable of leading others? And, that's a conversation that, I've had with other people before. And, it's a hard thing to understand or balance, because specifically here it's saying that like you have a speck of sawdust in, your brother's eye, but you pay no attention to the plank in your own eye. Like, cause what you can be doing is wrong, but, you see someone else doing the same thing and you call them out for it. And, like you guys said, while we all struggle with sin, the thing behind intentions is that, like, if I'm struggling with a sin, and I know I'm struggling with a sin, and I'm working to repent or correct it, and then I see another person struggling with the same thing, I think that's different than, willingly committing a sin and telling another person to, stop as well, because that's something we see too. Because, like, if let's say, I don't know, I had a problem with greed, and I see that Camden has a lot of things and he's not sharing them, and I'm like, Camden, you need to start sharing, man. Or like if Camden was rich and he, there's people in his life that needed, things, and he wasn't, willing to help other people, and I'd be like, Camden, that's wrong. But then I myself am a billionaire, and I won't get into that. But if I'm a billionaire and I'm like, Camden, you need to start sharing more, that's hypocritical. But if I'm, working on, letting go of material possessions, which in this case would be money, if I'm actively like taking strides and I understand this is wrong and I'm repenting and I'm trying to, lay it down, I can correct him without, like casting stones at him. If that makes sense. Like, it comes from a place of understanding that like we are both struggling with this together. Let's both work towards repenting rather than throwing stones at each other, because that's not gonna. Yeah,
like I'm trying to get better. Let's hold each other accountable. Do this, learn this together. So.
Which community and confession are two very key aspects of getting over sin and repenting. So definitely correcting people and leading them in the right direction is important, but you also need to make sure that you are in the right place to do so, or your heart is in the right place to do so, rather than just playing Judge Judy and convicting people instead of working on your convictions yourself.
Because we see, like, if say someone's struggling with like chemicals of smoking, and you're doing it too, but you're doing it, but you judge someone else. That's what we see a lot of times, is just people judging people for the same things that they're doing. And I feel like that's kind of more of what this whole section's talking about, is if you're doing something and someone else is doing it, you don't have any right to judge them for it.
And I think something that we kind of, maybe not glossed over because we're having this conversation right now, but verse 6 is something that I think, we don't always look at, which is kind of speaking to what I was saying earlier about, you can lead people in the right direction, but you can't make them go anywhere. So like where it says, do not give dogs what is sacred, or, in some translations it will say also the next line where it's like, don't cast your pearls before swine, pearls to pigs. You can try as hard as you want, or like, if you have a friend that, doesn't believe, you can take them to church as many times as you want, but, by forcing them to go, or like by repeatedly telling them that what they're doing, is wrong, or like a sin that they have, and repeating and telling them that it's wrong. At the end of the day, you're probably just going to lead them in the wrong direction. You're going to give them a wrong idea of what's going on. And, that also plays into the verses before about having a plank in your own eye, where, if you're repeatedly convicting a person or trying to make them feel bad for their sin, you yourself also probably have things you need to work out as well. So, I think these verses, surface level, you probably get out of it where it's like, we shouldn't be judging others, we're not perfect, but instead it's kind of coming from a place of, you aren't perfect, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be, helping others or leading others in the right direction. So again, it really is just about where you are to be judging people. So this whole section is, I don't know, pretty, obviously the whole Sermon on the Mount, there's a lot to get at, but I kind of want to read another section. We're only I feel like we're 10 minutes in. I feel like we should talk a little more about.
Well, the next thing on the list is talking about our favorite story from the Bible that we've read on here. So that could be.
What do you mean?
Our favorite story that we've read so far on the podcast.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You want to start us off on that one, Camden?
Yeah, sure. So obviously what first comes to my mind, we read the creation story, which is always great to read. It's just so cool to think about like all those things and like imagining those things as you're reading. It's always a super cool experience. But I think I'm just going to hit on Moses in Exodus. I know we didn't really get far enough to where he was asking Pharaoh to let his people go. But I always really enjoy Moses just because it's, I feel like it's a confidence booster to read that story, and God's going to work through anybody regardless of your situation or maybe even your past. He has great plans for you, and if you just lay down your pride, those good things will happen through you. He'll get the glory from that. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
We read Abraham and Isaac, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just had to make sure I didn't make that up.
We did. No.
We did that one around Christmas.
Okay. I don't know. I can't speak on this because I don't remember what our discussion was about it. I don't know if we did that story justice when we talked about it. I feel like as we've gotten to these later episodes, we've done a better job of discussing what we're reading as opposed to just reading it.
Yeah.
But that whole story is just so impactful, I guess, in the sense that, like, you know, it's a test of faith for Abraham, obviously, and I'm sure, you know, what Isaac had to be going through was crazy, you know, because, you know, we're going to sacrifice a lamb, but there's no lamb, so sorry, Isaac, but you know, and then just come in last second to be like, you know, this is a test of faith. Like, I don't know. This is, like, it's just such crazy foreshadowing, too.
It is.
You know?
That's what I was going to think.
Yeah, like, the whole story is just a telling of, like, you know, Abraham leading Isaac to be the sacrifice. You know, the same thing happens with Jesus, too, where Jesus is the lamb for sacrifice, except, you know, this time it's not a test. He actually goes through, and he is the sacrifice for all of our sins. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think it's really cool how, you know, that happens in the Bible, just the, you know, amount of cross-referencing and foreshadowing, which I'm sure we all know of that graphic where it's like all of the
63,000.
Yeah, all of the different links, and it's just like a colorful graph.
Yep.
I'm sure we've seen it 100 times, but
I have it on my phone somewhere.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's just cool to see that specifically. I mean, we didn't read a lot of like stories necessarily. Like we read like this, and this wasn't a story what we read today, but that one sticks out to me for sure. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that.
Before I say mine, Camden brought up the creation story, and that's our episode 4. And that is the episode.
63,000. Yeah.
That is our episode with the most views at 217.
Creation story.
Yeah, that is the one with the most. So, our creation story, we must have done something good on that one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this one was with Brooke or not. I don't know exactly which episode this one was in. But I always liked the Jacob story with the coat of many colors.
Yeah.
I've always liked that one because it's more like they were really mean to him, and then they were nice to him once they needed something.
Yeah.
With like the whole Pharaoh and everything, and it's kind of like don't take people for granted all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that story is about. Mm-hmm. Is because whenever they find out that he's one of the higher ups in Egypt, they're all nice to him again, and whenever they need something from Egypt, they're all nice to him. So, and that story just always kind of been one of my favorite stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, also a good point from that one is that Joseph, he does take pity on them. You know, he does help them and take them in. So, yeah, forgiveness is a good one in that story as well.
Yeah, for sure. Do we have other discussions on that?
What was your favorite part about the podcast?
Kim, do you have an answer?
I'm going to think about it for a second. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of...
Well, I'll try to talk through my thinking here. I think... I don't know. I think it's kind of hard since we're just starting it. I think once we have a couple...
Yeah.
Or once we see where it goes, it'll be easier to assess that. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I think we just have to see... Or at least for me, I have to see where it goes, where it grows, because... as you can see right now, it's pretty low quality and low budget. We went from having 3 mics to having 1, as you can see. So that's my fault on a producer end. You know, we haven't gotten to a great level of production yet, but I think once we get there, like from my perspective specifically, I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to like the media I create. You know, I have a bunch of different media projects I've done throughout my life, and I really like them to be refined and like as good as they can be. And so I feel like that, at least that part, you know, because you know I'm like the production person here, I feel like I've still not like been satisfied yet, and so that's kind of where I'm looking to improve for the next season. So that's really all I can focus on as far as this podcast though, is just like how I can, make this better quality
Yeah.
and have our discussions like sound better and look better. So, I guess to answer your question, I would say it's giving me a little more, media experience. I guess I'm getting a chance to learn this different stuff and record and upload on like a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's just talking with you guys. So it's stuff that I enjoy coming to do and record. It's not like a podcast on a topic I don't care about. So it's nice to have that discussion.
Yeah.
And I like my co-hosts. So
Oh yeah.
that also helps as well.
I'm honored.
It's not like I've known you guys for years,
Yeah.
but that's my answer.
I'm kind of also going to go off of what Sam said a little bit of. I know you guys might have not have seen it very much, but I was kind of sloppy on our planning for some of this stuff. Like a lot of it was kind of last minute stuff that I was kind of throwing in there. And I'm going to try to do better on planning and trying to get things moving more.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I can see myself going, but I feel like it's kind of helped me learn to make time for things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was always a person I would just want to just rush and do everything and just kind of get stuff going, and it's helped me learn to take time, and I'm able to socialize with you guys and the guests who are on here. And it kind of also helped me a little bit, learning to plan through the Christmas flight that me and Travis did, and it kind of helped with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't really say this, but I don't really have any favorite special guests that are on here.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick because we know all of them personally.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, my least favorite guest was blank, and then it's like, well, dang, that
Also,
hurts.
there's digital footprint too.
Yeah,
So,
so-
they'll find out if we.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like it's hard to say that. But.
I mean, all of them had great things that they brought to the podcast.
For sure, yeah.
And Chris and Haley kicked it off good. They were our first two special guests. They kicked it off amazingly. Isaac ended it amazingly as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. I think one of the ones, I'm not going to say the one that hit me the hardest because there's been quite a bit, but I got to say one of the episodes that kind of hit me the hardest was, it wasn't because Camden wasn't here, but it was the one with Derek.
Yeah.
Derek went in deep with a lot of stuff with worship, and I know I asked him to talk about it, but I didn't expect him to go in that deep with it.
Yeah, Derek came very prepared.
Yes.
Shout out to Derek. He had a whole
Yes.
note on his laptop of just points of information he wanted to talk about, which I appreciate that. I like
makes
people,
our life a lot easier. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too, and it just gives more room for conversation too. We're not just sitting here being like, what can we talk about next?
Yeah.
There's always something to do, which is really good for podcasts.
And Chris and Haley, they started asking us questions and stuff, and then
that was the first Q&A with Cammy J segment, so we
Yeah.
didn't have any questions.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, which we've got to work on that next season too, guys.
We'll have a lot of time to talk about this kind of stuff. And
But
improve, so.
I mean, Brooke brought a lot of good discussion. Amy brought a lot of good. Peyton and Audrey, that was a really fun episode with them.
We never reached that goal, by the way. I want to find a way to rework that goal somehow.
Yeah, I'd be
I think
down.
this goal is kind of dead.
I think that we gotta. Yeah,
maybe we can implement it into Hoosier HISteria somehow.
Yeah.
But you probably will not see the last of that goal. It's a funny idea. I want it to come back.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to thank those guests that kind of came on here, and just because they didn't really have to, and then they took time out of their schedule to be on here for that. So thank you guys for that. We also had Kevin too. I know I talked about everybody else, but I kind of didn't mention Kevin, but we had Kevin too.
Well, you just mentioned Kevin today. He brought the idea for this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
So he had a direct effect on 2 episodes.
Yeah,
did,
so
yeah.
That's pretty big.
thank you, Kevin. But Camden?
I will, before Camden goes, I will say, Deaven, you're talking about improving schedule-wise. I think, at least from an outside perspective, I think your mic presence has become a lot better since our first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Because I remember our first, 4 or 5 episodes, because I didn't edit this. I think we made that pretty clear. I don't really edit these unless I absolutely have to. Which, if you know, you know. There's a funny story Camden doesn't like, but
I mean, I don't mind it.
I mean,
but yeah,
whatever. It's a whole thing.
It is.
But there are times where I think that speaks to our chemistry too. We've known each other for forever, but there were times when there'd be dead air, and it was kind of like we were kind of teeing up you to speak, but you just weren't prepared, and so there'd be 10 seconds of silence, and then we move on. But I think, even just over the last couple months, I think you really improved that, because now it's we always have something to say. There's very rarely any moments of just silence.
Yeah.
And I think, Deaven especially, you've improved on that a lot. So I'd say, from an outside perspective, that's something that you've really gotten better at. But anyways, continue.
So I was going to say, as far as favorite memory goes, I would say whenever we were beginning, I guess the whole process, those weeks after Hoosier HISteria leading up until the first podcast episode. It's the end of summer, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would see each other at youth group or church, and Deaven would be like, oh man, so I have this planned out. Now we just need mics and a camera. And Sam's like, I have a GoPro and a camera and mics. And I remember thinking oh my gosh, this is really happening.
Yeah.
This is going to be so cool. And I remember whenever Deaven first originally told me the idea, and I was like, that would be cool, but that's going to be difficult. And really, this has not been difficult. And then we were over in that room for the first episode. And I remember we were just sitting there, and Sam was tinkering with the computer and tinkering with the mics, and me and Deaven are blowing into them and
you guys, hey, how does this sound?
Yeah, we were being real loud. And I think that Sam, you joined in eventually, and we're just boom, boom,
we were just
goofing off, and then we had to calm down and redo the intro 3 or 4 times. We were all laughing, and just that process of post Hoosier HISteria to the first episode, where the first take that we actually kept, those couple weeks, and then especially the moment of the beginning of the first podcast episode, was so fun and exciting and raw and real. Mm-hmm. We don't know what God's plan is for this or what He's going to do out of it, but we're just here for the fun of it, and that's exactly how this whole thing has been. So those are my favorite specific memories, and then you all kind of hit on what you wanted to get better at.
Yeah.
I guess that I don't really know if it's anything that we need to necessarily get better at, but it's been super cool to look at the views that these videos are getting, and the subscribers that the channel is getting, and how Hoosier HISteria, as the social media aspect of it's posting stuff about the podcast. And obviously I think that we all have been on YouTube. Viewers have all been, you're watching it on YouTube, right? And you look, and videos have millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views, and then you look at our channel, it's just a couple hundred, maybe some that don't even have 100 views.
Yeah.
But Hoosier HISteria, the student count is in the 40s to the 50s. If you count all of the workers, we're probably just shy of 100, maybe in the 70s, 80s, possibly, if you count the women in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. So, almost double the Hoosier HISteria community is watching this. The Hoosier HISteria community plus maybe friends and family. Hoosier HISteria community plus random people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is public videos, so who knows who's watching.
You look at that account and you're like, oh, that video only got 200 views. Whenever I just watched a video that had 7 million.
Yeah.
But 200 views for a little, like you said, kind of a low quality podcast from a church camp in Brazil, Indiana, getting hundreds of views is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's a blessing in itself. So honestly, you guys said, kind of polishing your craft, and how Deaven's just getting better. I think we're all getting better. Mm-hmm. I have really high hopes, and I think that these next seasons we're going to hit out the park and, just keep growing.
We're going to try to not give you all the hard names.
That's okay. Listen, maybe that's what's bringing in the views.
Sure, what kind of Bible name pronunciation?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Camden,
So-
we need to have you have like an episode of the history behind all the Bible names.
Yeah, I just read all the genealogy in the Bible. Yeah.
Genealogy episode.
Yeah.
But I will say one of my favorite ones. I have a new memory that I kind of forgot about until Camden kind of said something. Was the birthday episode with Sam? Remember Sam was over there just eating those cupcakes.
Yeah. I just realized as I was eating that sandwich too, I've eaten on this show 3 times. That's not a good look.
Well, this is like the first episode that I have not had a drink. I've noticed. I was literally
That's
just
true.
thinking about going to get water because I was thirsty.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite moments because we would ask Sam something and Sam would go, huh?
Those cupcakes were like melted. Like I was trying to pick them up and then it would just slip out of my fingers and then I'd get frosting all over my hands.
Yeah, literally like we got here before you, Sam, that day, and Devin's like, "Cam, I have the cupcakes. What do I do with them?" I'm looking at them. I'm like, "Oh, these have definitely been like in the car in the sun or whatever." And then I'm like, "I don't know." And then like we heard you open the door, and I'm like, I like tucked them under my chair
That's
basically.
so funny.
And they're just like sitting under. They're like sitting underneath me in the chair. Basically.
They were melted. They were good though.
Because
They were good.
me and Camden started talking about it at church, and we were like keeping it from Sam, and Sam was like, "What are you guys talking about the podcast?"
Well, yeah, because
and
you
you're
guys were
keeping
like,
it from me.
because you guys were like, we have a special like segment talking about, and you guys didn't tell me, and I was like, I'd like to know these things before we start, but you know, I was like, I also ate a turkey sandwich on camera too, and I was just chowing down on our Thanksgiving episode. I think is what it was.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was kind of, I didn't even plan that, which happened. I did not put that together.
There was one episode. It might have been the one where you were just. It might have been the Thanksgiving episode because Deaven was like reading a Bible verse and Sam like gets a Cheeto. And he's like,
oh yeah,
Yeah,
like, and then like there's literally like a 10-minute intermission of us just like wheezing, like just laughing so hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to be behind a little bit more reserved today. I tried to throw one in my mouth.
Yeah,
Because
not good. Yeah.
Because I remember Chris commenting about that one, and he was like, "That reminded me from the Penguins of Madagascar movie."
He's eating
with,
the like Cheeto.
with that one wolf guy trying to describe who they are, and then he just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah. Less eating on camera for me. I don't know. That's not. I don't think it's actually a problem.
I don't think it is either.
It's not.
Yeah. I don't want to tease anything yet because we haven't talked about like I haven't really talked much about next season besides what the schedule was that you gave us.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to step into more producer first, co-host second role next season. So like if we actually maybe we should just talk about this off camera. Dang, the Fever are losing.
I know it's only about 5. It's not even halftime yet.
Okay,
fine.
good.
Go Fever.
Yeah, go Fever.
Yeah.
Season doesn't start till May 17th.
I think it starts today.
No, I thought it was the 17th. I think is it preseason right now? I don't know. I thought the commercials kept saying May 17th. Maybe I just was being lied to.
Was the other night.
I think that's when the NFL schedule releases is like May 14th.
Maybe I had
or
my dates
something.
mixed up. I thought the season started May 17th.
But yeah, for the next. So I was talking to Camden about this a little bit. So one of our special guests.
No, this is regular season.
He's familiar with Hoosier HISteria and the church a little bit, but I was kind of wanting to. I still got to talk to him yet, but we're trying, and another guest that I'm planning on having, we're trying to kind of reach out more to kind of not necessarily get more views, but kind of get people aware of Hoosier HISteria and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, we have someone from McKinley Hill that I'm planning on coming on here that's not necessarily involved in Hoosier HISteria, but then I also have like someone from Chrysalis that's I want on here kind of to reach out to the Chrysalis community a little bit, kind of so like if we do reach out to them, maybe they could start coming to Hoosier HISteria, getting more students going, get more TL positions going, and stuff, and just kind of helping Hoosier HISteria out a little more too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but trying to reach out to more people with us.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea. I also have, I have ideas on production-wise how to make it better. I don't know. Maybe by when will we start up again? Like you said, July.
July.
Late July. Maybe by then I'll have better ideas on how to improve this, but
Q&A with Ken and Jay. What's poppin', guys? Welcome back to everybody's favorite segment for the time being.
I'm gonna rival you next season.
I know, yeah, I'm excited.
At the end of the season, we're gonna have a poll.
Yeah.
To see which one people like.
But yeah, I think that Sam, you said you had a question.
I do. I have two. They aren't anything major, so don't get your hopes up.
Okay.
Hoosier HISteria. We won't be doing this again until after Hoosier HISteria. So,
Yeah.
what are you guys looking forward to coming up, Hoosier HISteria? We have 2 months practically.
Yeah, I think.
So we're getting close. What are you guys looking forward to this year? Maybe this year specifically, or just in general?
So for me, I've obviously been in Hoosier HISteria my whole life. Like, obviously, I didn't start coming as a student until I was the same age as you're supposed to, going into 6th grade.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. But no, I mean, my parents were the leaders of it. They ran it since I was a little kid, like forever. And so I'd always heard about the rules and the positions and the planning and the teachings and all the background stuff. And I've kind of just always understood that. So even as a kid, participating in Hoosier HISteria, like being in a group and stuff, I've always kind of longed for working, I guess, in a way, because that's kind of all I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, this year, since we are getting such a big group of people that have gone through Hoosier HISteria and obviously can't come back as a student, that we have so many people that can be TLs and stuff. And also the student pool is growing, getting bigger, and so we need kind of more younger, and we need more hands on deck. And so, as you all know, my mom and dad they're called like the logistics. They just like run all the numbers. All their work is done basically before Hoosier HISteria.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it gets there, basically they're just kind of in the background doing whatever. Kind of like a log for those logistics. For those of you that know Chrysalis. But yeah, I think that I'm going to kind of help them this summer at Hoosier HISteria, which I'm excited for. I think it's going to be fun. And there's going to be a good little group of us, maybe like a half a dozen, that are kind of just going to be hanging around, having a good time, helping set things up, tear things down, clean up, which I think will be nice. Because I feel like, especially like the fellowship hall gets real dirty at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we have the big mass cleanup at the end of the week, but, just kind of keep things tidy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I'll still be around hanging out the whole week, but, kind of just like in the back watching it develop and, just participating in a different way, and I'm really excited for that. So.
When you guys travel to places to clean things up, you guys should have like a logistics team flag.
We should.
You carry around and you like march to the next area.
I know, yeah.
That'd be funny.
That would be really funny.
I haven't
come up with like a group chant,
So I haven't really heard anything. I let Tucker and Steven know, hey, I'm available for that week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what I'm going to do yet.
We still have a couple months.
I haven't really been told or anything, but I let them know that I'm available in any role. So I'm kind of on both sides. I kind of want to be a TL again, but I also kind of want to leave it open for people who haven't done it yet or who are looking forward to it.
Plus, you could be part of the first ever Hoosier HISteria Logistics team.
Yeah.
Dog team.
Submit your name in history,
And so that's also the other hand that I want to, because me and Camden we've been through Chrysalis. We both know what logs do, so we kind of have that experience a little bit. And so I feel like either one would fit perfectly fine. And me and Camden could also get some stuff off of Isaac, run the PowerPoint and sound a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of us maybe just...
Yeah.
I don't really want to speak for Camden a little bit.
Oh, no, I completely agree with you. Yeah, no, for sure.
But kind of give that off of Isaac. And so just kind of help Steven and Isaac out a lot more, getting some pressure off of them.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I'm fine in either role. I'm more looking forward to, because Nolan was talking about he's bringing one of his friends that doesn't really know much about the church and stuff. And so I kind of want to see the newer people that are coming in kind of develop in, see their reaction to the week, and just see Sam and Emma as they're moving into TL roles and stuff. And So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I mean, to answer my own question, it's just kind of the same what Camden said. I've grown up here, and I'm obviously not had as much of involvement as you have had because
But no,
you're
your
there.
parents have still been.
But yeah, I mean, I've always been around here when it's happening, and so kind of feels like a new like I don't want to say chapter. That's kind of overused, but I don't know. Just going into a new role, I guess, and seeing it from a different perspective, seeing the whole week from a different perspective of when the week is for you versus when you're serving for the people that the week is designed for. I think that's kind of a cool shift, and I'm definitely ready for it. I've been kind of waiting for that. At the end of last year, I kind of at least considered the idea of moving up early, but I ultimately decided against it because there still be people my age that were here, as opposed to you said that there's a lot of people that your age that weren't coming back, or they're just an absence of people that were your age.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that problem, so I stayed. But now that I'm older, and now that it's that time has come, I guess I'm ready for it. And I definitely am glad that I waited a year, because I think having that first experience now versus a year ago would have been a lot different. And so I think it's, I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be a cool experience to kind of be that kind of, that kind of leadership role, I guess, where, you aren't thinking about yourself necessarily, but you're thinking about those around you and those you're there to help. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And then also just seeing everybody,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that we don't see very often just because, proximity or just, life gets in the way. But, it's just like for that week, we all are here. And so that's just our time to build that community and have just almost everyone all in the same place.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
My second question was, we kind of talked about this already, but what was your guys' favorite on-camera moment for this podcast? I know we talked about the first episode we were just blowing into the microphones and stuff.
On camera.
And it can be serious or it can be funny. I don't necessarily care which one, but you guys have a favorite one you guys have? Tough question.
Well, no, I really liked, I guess for more recency bias, the first time that we recorded after church, and we were up there, and that guy kept turning the lights off on us. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Literally, there's no way he didn't hear us not.
We were talking.
We were talking
this volume.
Yeah. I mean, in the and bro just turned off the light. We heard him walk up and not do anything. For a second.
Didn't he ask us? He was like, "Anyone up here?" And then you were like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he turned off the
lights were turned off. And then I got up and turned them back on. And then he came back up and turned them off again. And I was like, bro.
I forgot about that.
There's that, and then I don't know if this counts as on camera, but like you said, the very first episode whenever I had my debacle.
Couldn't read.
Yeah. Couldn't read, and I just crashed out about it because I thought that we were editing it out, which I think that you ended up doing.
Yeah, I did. It's not in the episode. But.
No, if we can find a way.
I think I still have that audio clip.
Somewhere.
I think I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out because that was really funny. But yeah,
we should put together behind the screens episode and just kind of show all the goof off stuff that we've done.
Well, I don't know how much I still have of it. I know I still have the moment. I think I still have the moment where you messed up, and I might still have the moment from the first episode where you were just blowing into the microphone. I don't know for sure though.
But
I think it's on my
Have you guys
computer.
ever heard a tornado before?
I think it's on my PC somewhere. It might be, but everything else that we've done off camera, I don't think we have footage of. But
I'm trying to remember exactly how it went down, but it was one of the. I think my favorite on-screen moment was one of the ones that we were talking about. Whenever I was in the middle of reading my some of the most important thing, and then Sam just goes.
Just eating my Cheetos really loud. Yeah.
That was a good one. And then whenever we had Chris and Haley on here, no, you in the first episode, whenever we asked what the verse that stuck out with you, and then you started reading that one.
Yeah.
That one. I think that one caught me and Camden off guard.
That was funny. I really like. I don't have this moment like super clear in my head because I've just seen it. Like, the only time I saw it was when it happened, and then when we were at college group and you were going through funny moments and episodes. But whenever Kevin was here, and I was sick anyway, so I don't know if I played into why I thought it was so funny, but. Kevin answered his question or whatever. I look at Deaven to respond to the question, and he just has the NFL notification. He's just like, we're both looking at him, and we look at each other, and we just start dying because we're like, Deaven, what are you doing? You're the host of this episode. Why do you not have your questions ready?
Oh, I forgot about this one.
What?
Whenever Brooke said 6'7".
Oh my gosh.
I feel so terrible.
That's a product of its time.
That was so funny.
It's not even the fact that he said that. It's our reactions that makes it so funny to me because
our reactions were kind of.
Yeah, that was a funny moment.
Yikes! That was.
I don't know. Maybe they'll make a compilation of their funny moments and post it from season 1.
It was.
I could do that. But,
it was fun.
Our food bracket or our fast food bracket was
that was
funny.
awful.
That was interesting.
Even though I don't think any of us agree with the final bracket or the final list, like. Yeah, there's a lot of.
It's not the worst food bracket that's ever been tied to Hoosier HISteria.
It's not the worst food ranking system tied to Hoosier.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, that was like what one of our first years.
That was my first year at least.
Yeah, that was one of our like beginning first years.
I think that was my first.
That
was my first year because I remember it was like my.
I thought that was greater than the world, and I thought that would be my first.
It was my first.
You weren't in Crossroads, right?
I was, that was my second
Crossroads
year.
was my first.
Oh, so I guess it was Crossroads.
Yeah. But like one of them, I remember chocolate milk lost early.
That was my winner.
And every time that they'd go, Pierce and Steven would do the bracket. Derek would put chocolate milk up on the screen in the background, like the entire time.
I remember laughing because didn't the thing that won that bracket was just something that was already on the menu, just with bacon at it.
Yeah, it was grilled cheese with bacon. Like, are we serious?
Yeah.
I don't even think that stayed very long.
Oh, that's funny though.
I was like,
that's really funny.
Yeah. But so one of I forgot about this part. Speaking of the grilled cheese, so there's a Hoosier HISteria memory that I find hilarious all the time. So Derek was doing the cheese on him and stuff, and so I think it was like right before one of our talent shows. Connor comes up to me and he takes a bite out of his grilled cheese and he goes, "There's no cheese on this."
He just got it grilled.
Yeah,
he just got grilled bread.
That's funny. Man, I'm looking forward to Hoosier HISteria.
I'm excited, bro.
Just a week of shenanigans.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, teachings too, but the moments you remember the most probably are this year.
Dude, also there's that aspect of Hoosier HISteria that sucks though. Like, we're so happy and like excited for it, and then it's gone in a blink.
Yeah.
And like you're standing there now on Friday morning, just like,
dang, where'd it go?
Yeah, bro. I just gotta wait another freaking year, dude.
Yeah, that's why you gotta just live in the moment.
I know.
But I'm looking forward to Hoosier HISteria shenanigans.
I am too.
Speaking of Hoosier HISteria shenanigans, you guys had something you wanted to bring to the.
Like we promised you guys, we are going to share the story of the Cabin Wars.
I wish I knew about this. I not knew about this. I wish I remembered this because I would have came prepared. I forgot about this until right.
So it started with this guy. So we're going to let you tell how it started.
Yeah, let's really try to like think through this the best that we can because I don't want it to be like we're telling it and then like but then.
I remember
backtrack, and so
I remember
go
it.
slow and steady. Try to do the story justice.
I remember it pretty well, but
it's just to set up the setting. It's the last night of Hoosier HISteria, the party night.
Yes.
This was before it was Thursday. It was Friday night, and
was it 2022 or 2023?
This would have been 2022 because 2023 was when I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, wait.
No, because you couldn't be involved because you tore your ACL.
You're right. I think this was 2020.
Because it was you, Kenny Rowan, and Tyler Allen.
Well, was Kevin there? Because
no.
Okay, so then it was 2020.
It was the year before Kevin.
So that would have been 2020. Because 2023 was Kevin's first year. And I tore my ACL when I was in his group.
It was the year before Kevin.
Right. Yeah. So this was 2022.
So this is the.
This is pre-Kevin.
Okay, so again,
we have defining eras of Hoosier HISteria. One of them is the pre-Kevin era. And the post-Kevin era.
So we all know the schedule now is you start on Sunday night and you get over Friday morning. It used to be you start Tuesday night, get over Saturday morning. So this was Friday night party. The group TL was Tucker Thiel. And his students were me and Trey Eldridge. And Isaac Rissler,
Mm-hmm.
who had already. No, Isaac was
he
still
was
there.
leaving, I thought, because of that was when 4-H, they had those conflicts.
And so, had Isaac left yet? I don't remember.
I feel like that Isaac was leaving that night.
Okay, so Isaac and Trey were both leaving that night.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Isaac had to leave for something, like a vacation maybe, or he had to leave for 4-H. And then Trey was leaving because he had a baseball game the next morning. And so, we were all just kind of hanging out, and the whole week we had joked about pranking people. And it's the last night, and I was like, man, I really want to prank somebody. And so, I don't remember which one of us three had the bright idea of doing this, but we went up to Tucker and we're like, Tucker, we should leave the party right now. Because it was near the end. Leave the party right now, go to the other color's cabin, and just trash it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Halfway joking, right? Tucker, straight-faced, that sounds like a great idea. And then I'm thinking, it's just going to end there. We're not really going to do it. Tucker beelines it to Steven. And I see him talking to Steven. Now I'm thinking Steven's going to get mad at us for trying to do this super dumb thing. And I can just see him just go, just like nod and like gives us the green light. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, gosh.
So then we all like slide out the door and we go to, I don't remember the colors. We went to the other school's cabin and door was unlocked. And
that was the year of pirate school.
Yeah,
I think
that was the year of pirate
because that's an important part in this story.
Pirate School and Up was the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very, believe it or not, that's a very important part of the story.
Yeah. So we went to the Up cabin and just start flipping mattresses, and then we're putting the blankets over top so they don't know we flipped the mattresses. The table, like the central table, we're flipping it. We're throwing the deck of cards. We're just throwing all across the cabin. Their food, we're just scattering across the cabin, chucking water bottles. I remember Cameron Loftmiller had a Rubik's Cube, and we just, like, mixed it up a bunch and set it back on his bed, like, chucking pillows across. Like, we were just ransacking this cabin. And then we leave, and we go to our cabin, and we start packing for Trey and Isaac. They leave. Me and Tucker go back to the cabin. Or to the party. Mm-hmm. It ends. We close on the party. We're walking back, and you can just hear, like the younger kids from the Up cabin, just what? Just like,
now, before we continue, because I remember you guys came back to the party, and because it was at the campgrounds this year. This year it was at
Bee Ridge.
Bee Ridge. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, this year was at Bee Ridge, but this is when it was at the campgrounds. And so, you guys walked back, because this is when everyone had to walk back to the cabins after the party, because Simon was my TL that year. I remember, like Tucker, like you and like you guys came down.
Yeah.
You guys like, yo, we flipped their stuff in the cabin. like we messed up their cabin. If they ask, don't say anything. Keep quiet. You don't know anything. And we're like, got it. And then, we get back, like, we're walking back to the cabin, you just see things start to ramp up.
Yeah, like, you can just, like, hear it.
So, And, like, what's funny, too, is, like, I guess I'll let you continue, because I don't know where you're going to go from there, but,
so, as we all get back from the cabins, I go down to take a shower, and Grayson and Nolan and Cameron are all walking, and they all look at me and go, we're going to war now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we should probably hold off there first, because there's a lot more before that.
That's where it was for me. So.
I remember just thinking, like, it's going to calm down, it's going to die down, whatever. And then I think it might have been Grayson who came up to me. He's like, yo, Camden, bro, I saw you leave the party. What were you doing? I remember I was like, quickly, I didn't think about, like, making an excuse.
What to say to them?
And I just instantly, off the top of my brain, I'm like, we all left. We had to pack Trey and Isaac up. They had to leave. He's like, nuh-uh. I was like, yeah, you don't see them, do you?
You don't see them.
And I remember he's like, they're probably, because they're not with you right now. I remember being like, listen, tomorrow morning, Grayson, they're not going to be at the church. I will put every money down on it.
Trey's baseball game gets canceled and he comes back next morning or something like that.
They will not be there tomorrow morning because we left to pack them. I promise you, bro. I'm like, Grayson, you're my little cousin. Like, I'm not wrecking your stuff, which I did.
You did.
And again, also, I should have put a disclaimer. I don't condone anything I did back then. It was kind of dumb and immature.
Yeah, this should not happen
Yeah,
again.
this should not have happened.
We should have prefaced the story by saying this should not happen again.
It was honestly
like,
kind of an invasion of privacy.
This was a product of its time because this was the first time at the campground.
Yeah,
well,
that's also an important detail.
It was extremely radical. Like nobody had ever done anything remotely close to this ever at this camp.
Yeah.
Because it was the first year at the campground. It's another important detail of kind of why it happens this way. But first year at the campgrounds, we have a pirate school. Pirates go and pillage things. It's another part too.
And so I remember just like talking to Grayson, like, bro, nothing happened. I remember like I'm walking back to the shower house to pee, and I remember like Grayson just like instantly being on to another kid and was like getting up on us. He's like, "What were you doing?" You're like mad, like interrogating. And again, they're like sixth graders, so they're taking this really seriously. Like war.
Well, because at the bathrooms too, there's a lot of interrogating going on because we get back from the party, and some people shower, some people just go to bed. But like I went down there to brush my teeth with I don't remember who I was with, but Eli Thomas comes running down. You know that trail that's right before the shower house. Yeah. Eli runs down. And he's like, "Do you know what happened to our cabin? Like all this stuff is flipped over. It's like all the TL's beds are flipped. Miles' bed is flipped." And then I'm like, "I don't know, guys. I mean, I was just at the party, and then I come back and there's all this chaos going on." And so I was like, "I'm just here to brush my teeth. I'm gonna head back to the cabin. And I'm just gonna go to bed." And so there's all this interrogating going on, and then I remember, like things are like people are upset, but things are starting to like kind of calm down, and then I don't know where it goes from there.
So we were kind of like, they're going to go to war, and so I go back to the cabin and kind of tell Simon about it. Yeah. So Simon's like, all right, if they want war, we'll give them war. Yeah. And they come up with a plan.
Well, before the way this happens is very important because I think it's very in character for Simon because we walk back in there and I don't remember what exactly was said, but I know Tucker and Simon were like kind of jokingly talking back and forth about going, over to the cabin. Because it's like, what, 12?
It's late.
12:30?
It's already really late.
It is getting late because, already this whole discussion is going on and then interrogating. And so when we should have gone to bed at like 12:30, it's like almost 12:45 now. Yeah. And so we're kind of like messing around with the idea of like going over and just messing stuff up. And so Simon's like, 1 o'clock raid, and then Tucker's like, no, we shouldn't do that. And then he goes, unless. And then that's when Simon's like, okay, you're gonna be the alpha team. It's like he's like me, Brandon, and Kenny. We're gonna be the alpha team. And then you guys are the beta team where it was like you and Tucker. And
it was me and Tucker and Liam.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, so how the plan went was like, Brandon and Kenny, because Tyler Allen wanted no part of this. Neither did Kennedy Rowe.
So the thing about the teams is that like Simon's like divvying up the teams, and like also what you guys gotta understand is like you all know Simon and Tucker, and like they're all goofballs and like really funny, and like you've spent weeks with them before. Like in this moment, it wasn't like at this point it was playful, like, oh, we're gonna go to war. But like once we actually got to the thick of it here in the future, like it was not playful. Like like they were almost more into it than we as students were. Like it was like we're gonna go do. No, it was like we're going to go do this.
Yeah, because
like all men are the same.
Yeah,
all men are the same.
Before we leave the cabin, I shouldn't say we, because in case you're wondering where I am in this story, I'm in the same cabin as like Simon and Tucker. Kennedy and Tyler Allen wanted nothing to do with this. They were like, we just want to go to bed. Uh-huh. I was like, I just had knee surgery because I tore my ACL that April. And so I had knee surgery in, it was either June or it was mid-June. So I was like, I don't want to get involved in this. I'm going to slip in the mud. I'm going to mess up my knee. So I just stayed in the cabin. So this is probably the last part I'll narrate for a while unless I do like, well, this is happening in the cabin. But before we leave, like you were saying, like the whole plan is just like the plan was just like, we're going to sneak, like, Team Beta's going to sneak behind the car and be behind the cabin. Yeah. Team Alpha's going to go, and we're just going to, like, bang on their windows or something, and they're going to run back.
Well, so that was, it's kind of playful, like, oh, you're going to be this team, you're going to be this team. I remember Tyler Allen's like, we're not doing this, and he kind of calmed us down. And then I remember, it might have been Grayson. I know that he's kind of the antagonist for the other cabin. But then, like, a bunch of group of those aged kids came, and, like, as Tyler was calming us down, just banging on the windows, banging on the door, like trying to jiggle it open, and like we're running over, like locking it and pushing them out. And after that happened, I remember Tyler just lost all control. Like there's nothing that he could have done.
Any power that Tyler had in the TLC was absolutely gone.
Any momentum that he had gained in calming us down, he had instantly lost.
Yeah,
like yeah.
And so we leave the cabin. Tucker, Liam, and Camden are over with there. So this is where we were. I'm telling kind of where we were at. Mm-hmm. So Brandon and Kenny ran up and banged on like the doors and stuff. Me, Simon, and Austin stayed back for like reinforcement type thing. So like once they got into their cabin, us three would run in there and go. And then I think you guys are supposed to enter through the back. We're just supposed to like just ransack them again and everything. Well, the plan ended up backfiring. So what ended up happening was Miles ends up grabbing Kenny and basically kidnapping Kenny.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Hess gets like a group of people and charges out at us. So as we're running back to the cabin, I slip in mud. My whole front is just covered in mud.
Yeah.
And Simon grabs me and picks me up. Me, Brandon, Austin, and Simon go running back. And then Tucker, Camden, and Liam have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so
and they're still back there.
So a bunch of people got really filthy during all this. So yeah, Deaven fell. But so what happened? So yeah, like Deaven said, my team Bravo, or what was it, Beta team?
No, it was Bravo.
I think it was Bravo.
Yeah.
So Bravo. So Tucker, me, and Liam, we snuck along for the boys watching that back little like alleyway that takes you behind all the cabins. We went back there, and this is like. Our cabin is like the first cabin or the second cabin from the entrance. The up school that we ransacked is like the back. It's tucked in the like back.
There's a cabin in between it. There's some cabin and some change, in between the two cabins.
And so we snuck along the woods basically, and we're like hunkered over behind. It might have been Peyton's car, hunkered over behind this car, and like we're like looking. The only light that we have, because it's dark, the trees are above us. We don't have moonlight. The only light that we have is their window light, like shining kind of towards the car that we're looking through the windows of. And so like we're sitting there and we're like, we gotta be quiet. We gotta wait for the sign, the signal, whatever. And like we look, and in the shadows we see Brandon and Kenny under the window, like rolling, like just like rolling, just like under the window so they didn't see them. I remember they stood up, and you can just like see the glare. They're just filthy, like dirty, so dirty.
And an important detail too, as well, that we need to clarify. This is before they had those woods blocked off with tape, because that was before. Because again, this is the first year, so maybe we caused it. I don't know, but they now the area is blocked off with tape. But before that, it was like, I don't want to say fair game, because that is that is property that is owned, but like it was within bounds, I guess.
So we end up making it back. Well, Brandon goes, well, I'm going to go rescue Kenny. So Brandon leaves again. And so I end up calling Liam. I'm like, hey, where are you guys at? The only words he says is, still behind Peyton's car. And I'm like, Tucker wants you guys to come back. If you guys find Brandon along the way, bring Brandon back.
Wait. But, we're going too fast.
No, are we?
Yeah, because I've not even said what happens behind the car. And he's already with Tucker.
Oh, well, I thought you guys came back to the cabin and then you left again. I thought there was like an intermission.
Well, so what happened is, so we saw them rolling, and they got up, and then they get to the door. And Deaven is right. The plan was that they were going to go in the front door and draw them all that way. And again, these cabins are one-room cabins, so I don't know what our plan was to sneak in. But their plan was like to draw them all to the front, and we're going to slide in the back and just start chucking things, right? Well, as soon as they're like sneaking up to the door, we're like starting to go around the car. And that's whenever the door swings wide open with Tyler and his little minions. And they're like holding people captive, drag them back into the cabin. And I remember
they got Kitty.
I remember Tucker just like sprints and just like leaves me and Liam behind this car. And I'm just like, yo, and Liam's like, stay. I was like, bro. And so all this is happening. That's whenever Deaven runs and falls. And
yes.
So Tucker strands me and Liam. So then once everything calms down, me and Liam like tiptoe back to our cabin. And that's whenever, or wait, I think that you called Liam to tell him Tucker wanted us back. And so that's whenever we were just told by TL to come back. We should go back. Mm-hmm. That's whenever we went back. And then, did we go back? We went back.
Well, no. What happened after that
is where it gets kind of gray.
Okay, yeah. This is where it gets kind of muddy, because I think I'm gonna try to tell it from because I was inside the cabin with you guys. So, me, Kennedy, and Tyler are in there, and we have the lights on because Tyler's like, I'll give him some time to come back, maybe let this thing die down. But if not, we're just gonna go to bed. So we were waiting there for probably, I can't even give you an estimate on how many minutes it was because it all happened so fast but so like long at the same time. So I think, I may be misremembering, but I think what happened is we waited for a decent amount and nothing happened. So Tyler's like, I'm just going to turn the lights off. And if they come back, they're going to come back. And if they don't, we'll be asleep or whatever. And so eventually, he turns the lights off. But we can still hear stuff going on outside. Like, so we know it's not going to die down anytime soon. But then, like a whole group of like you, and you said Brandon was back too, and then you came back, and then Brandon went to go look for Kenny. And mind you, by the way, shirts are coming off. Like, okay, yes. Brandon and Kenny, just walk you through my perspective. It's, the cabin is dark. You're trying to, kind of fall asleep. However, I was invested. I'm a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm like the age where like this is war, which I guess. Let's be honest, we'd all still be that way. If this
happened again,
we would 100%.
Well, like I literally just get the disclaimer. I don't like.
It shouldn't happen.
I'm disappointed of my actions. But if this were to happen again, started by
all
somebody
bets
else,
are off. Yeah.
Mud's going under the eyes, we're playing, bro.
Yeah, like if it shouldn't, I don't condone it. If this should not happen anytime soon.
But we would relive the glory.
But like if it just somehow, some way got back to this level,
Nerf guns, boys.
Anything that we are saying right now about it shouldn't happen or we wouldn't do it completely goes out the window. Because we're
do not use our words against us.
because we're young men and that's how we operate. But so I'm in the cabin and the lights are off and I'm kind of waiting for you guys to get back, obviously. But you guys run back, and then Brandon runs back with his shirt off, and that's a very key detail. By the way, remember
actually,
this.
I know how Brandon lost his shirt.
Okay.
So they were trying to get Brandon too, and they grabbed Brandon by like right here on his shirt,
right.
And Brandon just lets him take his shirt, and he runs back.
Well, it was also muddy too.
It was very muddy.
Yeah.
Because I know Kenny also lost his shoe because Brandon came back with Kenny's shoe, and he's like, "We lost Kenny."
He's like, "We lost Kenny."
So Brandon's like, "I'm gonna go back with Kenny," and Tyler's like, "Please." But so you're calling Liam about where he's at. Brandon's out finding Kenny, and then
Well, the reason the shirts are coming off is because at this point it's probably close to 1 o'clock.
It's past 1 o'clock.
So it's like early morning. So like the dew is starting to set on the ground. So it's like really, really humid already.
Yeah.
And it's like in the middle of July.
It's humid
so it's
and
so hot.
There's bodies on the ground.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
the clothes are gonna get muddy.
Well, we also just got done with the party, which is hot. Yeah. We're also sprinting as hard as we can. So it's steamy, right? It's hot.
And
sure.
so
it's a word to use.
And so you guys come back, and so Simon is trying to develop another plan, and Tyler's like, "No, you guys go to bed."
This is where Tyler comes back into control of this story.
Yes.
He's like, "I'm shutting this down. We are going to bed."
And so I think Kenny ends up coming back, just like out of nowhere.
Kenny comes back with his shirt also off.
And so
I don't think anybody out here knows how that happened, but Kenny does come back with his shirt.
No.
His shirt is off nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning, Miles gives Kenny a shirt that next morning.
See, I did not know that.
And so Simon's trying to develop another plan. Tyler's arguing with him like, "No, we're shutting this down now."
Is Tucker back?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all back.
And so Peyton comes over with some of the other Greens.
I think we need to do this part justice.
Yes, we do.
So,
we do.
Yeah, Simon's developing a plan. Tyler wants this all to die down, and I think Peyton is of the same mentality.
Well, So Peyton comes over kind of as like a mediator. Like, I'm from the up school. I am like the official.
Well, can I talk about how we got here first?
Yes.
Okay, so Simon's developing a plan. Tyler wants to shut down, and Peyton, like he said, he's coming over. However, when Peyton walks over here, like we immediately know he's here because we see a bunch of like 6th and 7th graders all up on the window with they're like banging on the window. Like this is literally looks like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And like all these like chaotic young like kids are like just like banging on the window with their palms.
Yeah.
And we gotta let Peyton in because he's gonna negotiate. And so we had to like open the door, let Peyton in, and just like push these kids back and let Peyton in. And then
and so you want to talk about
So also by this point, so we're back in the cabin, and the cabin, like the fans in the cabin don't do a very good job of keeping it cool. Yeah. So by this point, like I'm in there, I probably took my shirt off.
Plus, it's 1:30, by the way.
Yes.
No
And
rational decisions.
Yeah, we're
happen at
sleep
1:30.
deprived. Yeah, it's like all of our shirts are starting to tear off by this point because we're just hot, right?
Yeah.
Um.
It's like Camden shirt comes off. Like,
Also, we can see the writing on the wall that this is probably over here in the next 5 minutes. Kind of just preparing for bed, taking the shirts off.
yeah, Simon's
Well,
shirt comes off.
Peyton's over here to be diplomatic, calm this down, end it, get the treaty signed, if you will. And we're coming down, and it's kind of like Simon and Tucker and Peyton and
While this is happening, shirts are.
Tyler Allen, and they're talking about how we need to stop. You tell your boys this.
I'm gonna throw in something right here.
Okay.
Because Peyton came over and he went to go talk to Simon and Tucker for a treaty, and Tucker looks at him and goes, "We won't talk to you till you take your shirt off."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Because
well-
at that point, everyone's shirt was coming off.
And so Peyton's like, "No, I won't do it." And all of us are surrounding Peyton, and we're like, "Take your shirt off."
Take off the shirt, like some sort of take off the shirt.
The reason that we asked Payne to take his shirt off was because, again, like by this point, like it's those 3 or 4 talking, and like all of us students are like
All of the
slowly
other
like
boys, like, without
inching in around them, right?
shirtless boys. Just like
We're just like inching around them, and in the madness of it all, my main man K-Ro, he joins without his shirt
for
on.
no reason, by the way. He
Like
just takes his shirt off
Kennedy
and
Rowan, who had been chill, laying in his bed the whole time, pulls up with his shirt off, and he's like with us as well. And so that's whenever we realized, like, holy crap. And so that's whenever it clicked, and we're like, Peyton, take off your shirt.
We aren't going to negotiate.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to keep causing chaos and riling up your boys if you don't take your shirt off. And he's, no, I'm not. No, we're like, take it off. Take it off.
He ended up doing it.
Peyton takes his shirt off.
Can I ask real quick, what were the peace? Does anybody remember?
I think it was just a stop.
Oh, just to stop.
It was just a stop.
He said like we have little ones trying to go to bed and stuff.
Yeah.
And
we have Tyler trying to go to bed.
There was something to do with the volleyball court, I know, in there.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the
But-
volleyball court.
But yeah, we ended up doing it. Well, then Tyler makes some comment.
Well, no, yeah. Tyler makes a comment, and then the peace negotiations are all worked out.
Yeah.
And then Tyler's like, "Okay, finally, we can go to bed." And we're like, "You're missing something, Tyler.
Yeah.
You're missing something." And Tyler's like, "Don't make me do it." And then the iconic line. I don't know where it originated.
We surrounded his bed.
Yeah.
And we all go, part of the ship, part of the crew.
Again, because it's pirate. It's
Yeah, it's
pirates.
pirate theme,
So we
yeah.
all gather around, and it's like, I don't remember who started it, but we start chanting, "Part of the ship, part of the crew."
Yeah.
Part of the
It's definitely
ship,
Simon.
part of the crew. It had to be Simon.
I think it was.
So Simon, I assume Simon starts chanting, "Part of the ship, part of the crew."
Yeah.
And it's louder and louder, and Tyler is like really trying to push back, and he's like, "All right," and then he takes it off, and then we're all like,
Yeah, and it like erupts.
and then at this point,
that was like the victory right there. Like
at
we
this point,
did it.
Yeah.
You know?
At this point, all the middle schoolers have walked back to the cabin because they have no idea what's going on. They're locked outside.
Oh, so Sam had his shirt off too
Oh yeah,
in the
but
cabin.
I was sitting in my bed because I didn't want to get rowdy with
But-
my knee being like it was.
But yeah.
Yeah. So so everyone in the cabin has their shirts off, and we kind of finally work out this deal. And then Peyton leaves. We all kind of die down. We get the people that were muddy kind of wipe off, wash up, and then go to bed. Probably like 2.
Well,
late.
right after that, I remember Simon making the comment saying, "Hey, who wants to break the truce and go back over there?" I remember Simon
I think
saying
that was
that.
halfway joking. Though.
Yeah, Tucker was like, no, unless. But then that time it didn't actually amount to anything.
But
And then the next day we came to breakfast and like everybody's still like super tired because it was so late
And-
like still kind of riled up.
yeah,
And
we're
like-
all trying to we're all talking about it with each other. We're like, yo, did you hear what happened? Like, I don't know if like the girls' camp heard it or if they heard about it the next morning.
Well, I left this part out. So, as we're waiting on Camden and Liam to get back, and whenever Brandon left, I get a text from Paige going, "Hey, we're hearing screaming, yelling going on
Okay,
over
so
there.
they did-
What
okay, I remember
what's
that
going
now.
on?"
I
And so
remember that
I
now.
kind of texted Paige, kind of filled her in on everything.
It should have just been like all capital letters, war, sin, and then that's the only
But
information.
Bodies are flying.
Bodies
But-
are flying.
But yeah, she's like,
Bodies are dropping.
We're hearing screaming and yelling and a bunch of different stuff. What's going on over there? Are you guys okay? And we're like, I go, yeah, we're fine.
That's the only.
We're having a war. And she goes, war? And I go, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, so I remember I literally saw Grayson walk in the door and be like to him, like, Grayson, guess who's not here? Trey and Isaac.
Yeah.
I remember he was like, I still think you did it. And
Well,
I was like, okay.
Yeah, because
Well,
like
the thing
at
wa-
this point, how it started didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like at this point, it was just like, oh, there was a war. Like the
Yeah.
fact that how it started got completely
Because
forgotten.
it was so crazy for Hoosier
Yeah,
HISteria.
we completely forgotten how it started. We just knew like, oh, there was a war last night.
Also,
Yeah,
we probably
wars.
didn't even have 40 kids that year.
No,
So that was a couple years
yeah.
after
That was
COVID.
a smaller year. I
That was
think.
probably
Yeah,
like 35,
that was a smaller
maybe.
year.
Yeah.
A small year.
But like, I remember your dad and Steven and Isaac were all like, "What happened last night?"
What happened? So yeah, they kind of are like they get the idea that something happened because this is the last day. you
Yeah.
know, it's a half morning. Like they get the idea that something happened, and I think they kind of are catching on to like what happened, but I don't think anyone told them directly yet.
Everybody's talking about
Yeah, everyone's talking about something that happened last night, and so they get the idea that something happened last night. But I do remember we get to the like quick start in the fellowship hall, and we're kind of talking about it, and Steven's like, "How's everyone?" And we're like, we all can't keep it together, obviously. Like we all know
we all
we all
cracking
know
up
what
laughing.
happened. And so yeah, Steven's like, it's like, how'd y'all sleep? And we're like,
Yeah.
we're like, wouldn't you like to know? And then like, yeah, that's
And
that's
then
all I remember.
And
That's
then
kind
like
of it,
at youth group, Chris kind of had us tell him what happened.
Yeah, we
a
kind
little
of.
bit, but
We also talked about it probably that next morning up here too.
but yeah, it was a fun time.
Well,
that was a good
I
time.
remember the
that
next.
was Jaden's last year. My brother Jaden's last
Oh
year.
yeah.
No,
doing
I
it.
remember the next year, my cabin once again. Well, no, so there was another school. The other school the next year did it to my cabin because I was in the cabin. It was a retaliation to kind of me and my group, and they did it, but not to how good we did it the first year. And our cabin, like we didn't retaliate instantly, but we were still kind of like, I think the Simon was in that cabin with me again. And we're like, we're gonna get him back, but like more sophisticated this time.
Yeah.
And then like it just didn't work out because we got locked out.
Yeah,
of the
because like I
cabin.
remember
So-
like Isaac's bed got flipped, and he like instead of like people being like mad, he was just like, why would you do
Yeah,
that?
more of like a fed up.
And then
okay,
like
guys.
that same night, like instead of a war happening, you guys were just playing euchre.
Yeah.
So-
we just hung out.
So
Yeah.
like
Was
yeah,
that the year that
that was the year
was that
that
the year that we tried to tell Mitchell that my name was something else?
yes,
I think it was.
yes.
I
So,
don't remember what it was.
Jacob, I think.
Oh yeah, it was Jacob. Because I was like, Mitchell didn't know what my name was, and I was like, yes. And he's like, Jacob, and I was like, what? And then we just went along with
Yeah.
that.
And so
But
the thing is I know who started that one. That one was Grayson, Mitchell, Kenny, and Brandon.
I remember King.
That was that one. And so I went to go kind of see what was going on, and I went to go kind of talk them out of it because that was my first year as a TL, I think. No, it was my last year because I had your dad as a TL. And I was kind of going to go talk them out of it, kind of be like, hey, that was a one-time thing. And that's when I shared the story earlier in the podcast whenever I find Liam asleep on the picnic table.
Yeah.
Because you guys would have a euchre tournament. and
Yeah.
that's why he was up there. He was
Yeah,
practicing.
he
and
was
fell asleep.
practicing for it, and then I found him asleep. And
Yeah.
then he goes, yeah, I woke up for a little bit. I saw Brandon King run by, and then I went back to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, I'm up here to kind of shut it down. By the time I got up there, they already ransacked your guys' cabin. I was like,
Yeah.
Dang.
So they tried Cabin Wars 2.0, tried and failed. Cabin Wars negative 2.0. That's what I would refer to it as. I guess.
Yeah.
but yeah, I was kind of trying to shut it down, because they were trying to get Kevin in on it. So that was Kevin's first year.
Yeah.
They were trying to get Kevin in on it, and Kevin didn't want to. And they were kind of, I think they were trying to get the girls to do something with their side too.
The energy was just different that year.
Yeah.
Like we were, I think, I don't know, the fact that it happened just the year before kind of, made it.
Yeah.
Like, we were
exhausting.
trying to recreate
Yeah.
the
There wasn't a pirate theme, we weren't
Yeah.
like, these like pillaging pirates
But-
theme, that was
But
like,
kind of like what Sam says a little bit, kind of everyone that was kind of there, that new generation of people that weren't there, they kind of need to
Well,
get it. Like,
'cause
if it is to happen
it
again.
needs, so my opinion on a future Cabin Wars is that it, like, that for everyone who was involved when it happened, so like people our age, people like the generation,
Grayson and
the kids that are like, or the people that are a little bit younger than us, and then also like the TLs that were
yeah.
doing it as well at that time. I think we all recognize that like it won't get that crazy again.
Yeah.
And so I think like it's just gonna have to happen naturally with this next
Yeah,
generation
well-
of kids that are coming in because, for First of all, when it doesn't happen organically, it's not as fun because then it's like,
when it's
we're forcing
like
this
it
to
was
happen.
the next year.
Yeah, like next year it was like, oh, we need to do this again, and then that's when it wasn't as fun. So I think it just needs to like this next group of kids that if they want to do it, they have to just like do something not expecting like it to happen, because I think that's kind of what made it interesting, is that like it was just like a prank, and then it turned into what it turned into. So
because I know Tucker was kind of talking about it 1 year with me, and he goes, yeah, the next year when you get like stink bombs involved, Nerf guns involved.
I remember hearing that too, and I was like, jeez.
He's like, we need to like put stink bombs in their cabinet, and then whenever they open the door, all of them just go off at the same time.
That was part of it too. Was like the next year it was like you feel the need to one up it whenever it's just like it was best when we just weren't fighting each other for no reason
and then
had no
like
weapons. We were just like straight up, I don't know.
The cabin wars also caused you guys get locked out of your cabin that next year.
The next year,
Yeah, and then your dad had to pick that lock and everything.
Well, kind of circling back, like I don't even know what maybe Tucker and Trey and Isaac had something going through their minds, but for me, like as I was flipping beds and stuff, like I don't even remember thinking like what I was accomplishing, like what I wanted to happen from that, like what I was expecting to happen, what I wanted to happen, what I wanted the reactions to be like. I don't even remember why. You just like we were just idiots. Like let's do it.
It's because we're guys. We just go do stuff without thinking twice about it.
Yeah,
We're
but
just like I'm gonna flip a table and then just see what happens before actually thinking.
I think the funniest part of all of that was my phone call with Liam. Just him going, we're still behind Peyton's car. I'm like, dude.
Well, I remember his phone was already like full blasted for some reason. I remember it's like, whoa, like he accepted it. And I remember Deaven, you're like, hey, where are you guys? And I remember like there's like people still out of the cabin. I'm like, bam. He's like pushing the volume down. And I was like, bro.
And then Paige's text is also a fun part of that, because like I not only get a text from her, but like I think I get a text from someone else. I can't remember. It was another one of the Speedway girls, and like all four of them are texting me at this point, like, hey, we're outside of our cabins hearing this. What's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine we're at our side of the cabin. We just hear like
bloody murder screams.
Well, actually, that might be a little more concerning. The girl's side than the guy's side. But like, imagine like there's another guy's camp. We just hear screaming. Like, wouldn't you also be like?
But I keep getting texts from them, and all I respond to all of them is, we're fine, we're just going to war. And they go, because they're all in my group at that time.
Yeah.
And so in my group, it was Kenny, Rowan, Brandon, Kenny, and then them. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, are you guys okay? Do we need to like call Steven or whatever and get him over there? And I'm like, no, we're fine, we're at war. And all of them just respond at the exact same time, war ? And I respond to them all, I'll tell you later. We're in the middle of something.
I think it's funny that a lot of my best memories of Hoosier HISteria come after midnight.
Yes.
Like whenever we used to sleep here and we played silent football.
Oh, yes, yes.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
Or like Cabin Wars, obviously.
That was.
Yeah, you know. I mean, obviously I have other memories that don't happen at, 1 a.m, but some of my favorite Hoosier HISteria moments are from, which like, I don't know, as a TL that probably will not happen again.
Yeah.
Not saying that like I'm disappointed in that, or like, it won't happen again for like the younger kids, but like, I don't know, man. Like, just to be up at 2:00 doing something that like, I don't know.
You probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, not even that, but like even like, I don't know. I guess I would still play silent football at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But like running around the camp and like flipping tables. I mean, again, I say this now, but who knows? But like the thought of it right now is just not enticing. Like,
Because I remember Simon yelled something loud before we even went there, because there was a tree knocked down. And so Simon goes to jump over and he goes, parkour, real loud.
Parkour. Yeah.
And me and Austin kind of look at Simon like, dude, keep it down. And so Simon was trying to inform Austin on the plan, because Austin didn't really understand it. Simon was talking like really loud, and we're like, Simon, they're going to hear us coming through Simon. And so, but yeah, Simon just yells parkour as he jumps over that tree.
Yeah.
And so me and Austin are walking beside him. We just go around the tree. Instead of going around it, Simon just says jump over the tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, man.
dude.
I'm looking forward to Hoosier HISteria.
Because I remember like from like my neck down was just covered in mud in the front because I remember turning around after they got Kenny, and there's a mud puddle right there, and I just go poof and just slide right in it.
Yeah.
And I remember getting picked up from the back, and Simon just like picks me up and throws me back onto my feet. He's like, "Go, go, go!"
Yeah.
What a time! What a time!
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah. Looking forward to Hoosier HISteria this year.
Yeah.
You know, this is the last time we'll be recording before then, so. You know, this was a great season.
It was.
And I'm looking forward to improving next season. You know, hopefully have some great Hoosier HISteria memories to talk about when we get on camera next time. And looking forward to it. So if you're also looking forward to next season, you should subscribe. You should hit that notification bell so you know when we upload. Hit that like button if you liked our discussion about our reading of the Bible today, and then also just about the podcast as a whole, and then the Cabin Wars, you know.
Yeah.
You guys have any final thoughts before we leave?
Oh no, just stay tuned. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for
That's
watching,
it,
and
yeah.
we'll see you in July.
See you guys.